Welcome back to ciLiving this afternoon. I'm hanging out with meteorologist Adam Sherwinski here in the Weather Center. Adam, we're going to dive right into some questions because it sounds like some viewers saw some pretty interesting clouds over the weekend.
Yeah, we got that from Jacob and Kevin. They kind of answered that question, but there's kind of two ways of going about it. But a lot of people were asking, what were these clouds for this weekend? So that's the question, I guess. I kind of introduced it for you.
Okay.
What were the clouds that we saw this weekend?
I guess I missed it. So what was up with the clouds?
Yeah, we had some in Tolona and Posodum. People saw them, but here's the kind of clouds that they were. They were called altocumulus undulatus. Say that 5 times fast.
Oh my goodness, it sounds like Jello.
That is a tongue twister of words, and we have that all the time in meteorology. We have words that are huge and long and complex, but those are puffy cumulus clouds as we normally see them. But the way that they're formed, that's the real odd question. So if we take a look back at the graphic, you can see that we have these little streets almost of clouds. Now there's two ways these could have formed. One would be that these clouds formed along the way they do, but the winds were just on the other side to kind of give like a parallel feel. So the clouds formed parallel to what the winds were going at. So that makes sense. That could have worked, and that's how you normally get these kind of clouds. But they also give the hint that they were formed by gravity waves. That sounds like something super space age, and there are gravity waves that are in physics that I have no knowledge of, I'm gonna be honest with you. But in meteorology, we also have our own thing called gravity waves. Now, what are gravity waves? What are we looking at here? With gravity waves is when you're in a stable environment. When the atmosphere, things are unstable, it means anything can really rise really quickly. That's how we get our thunderstorms to form in a really nice, moist, unstable atmosphere. And sometimes when it's stable, well, that's a little bit hard to make thunderstorms form. So what happens is we get these mechanisms, whether it's a mountain or a hill or just some kind of way of forcing a lift, that we get these clouds, or really we take this air and rise it to the level where it moistens and becomes a cloud and then sinks immediately. Kind of like a basketball in the water. It rises, it bobs, it goes up and down, like a wave, a gravity wave here. So as it starts to sink, it's not sinking because it's all heavy, it's because of gravity. So it's back and forth, causing these waves, gravity waves we call them. We see them on thunderstorms on the other side of a front sometimes as well, so keep that in mind. But the stable air is forced to rise, whether again orographic lifting or also just maybe just really because it's really warm out that day. But as soon as it rises, it sinks immediately. So you get enough for clouds, those cool looking clouds, but not enough to cause thunderstorms to form. Again, this is a stable environment. If it was unstable, it'd keep going, billowing, and becoming thunderstorms. And that's the environment we look for when we're looking for severe weather, Heather. So
which theory are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning towards the gravity waves. Now, they are still the same type of cloud, just how do they form? That's the question we always like to ask. And I think that one makes a little bit more sense. We were very stable this weekend, not a lot going on. It was pretty quiet. It was really nice this weekend on Sunday.
Now that I have seen the photo, I did see that photo actually pop up on one of my, I think it was the Sydney Town Facebook page, and I think they were thinking maybe it was a chemtrail.
Oh, no.
You don't think it was a chemtrail?
No.
I think we need to save that for
that is a whole can of worms that,
No?
Hey, not today.
I just am asking the questions.
Hey, and you know what? I appreciate you asking the questions. But yeah, I'm going with the gravity waves one. And gravity waves are really cool because for meteorologists, not only can you see them at the surface, but you can see them on satellite too. And you can kind of see the little ripples here and there. There's also something called bores, but we won't get into that today because it's a boring topic. Though? They can be, depending on what's going on. If we have a lot of thunderstorms that day, that later on behind the thunderstorms, around the thunderstorms, we can get those. A lot of forcing going on, ripples from the thunderstorms, and around fronts. And we get fronts all the time here in Central Illinois. So really cool to see. Again, those pictures are really useful and really tells us a lot. And there's a lot of things to talk about with how each cloud forms.
Well, and we love talking with you, Adam.
Thank you so much.
Answering all of our weather submitted questions there from you at home. And if you have a question that you want to have Adam answer, maybe next time, there's how you can connect with him. We'll have that, of course, at ciLiving.tv.